Right now at 5, the plan to save lives on San Francisco streets about to shift into high gear.
It definitely makes me feel better, especially with my children being here and playing. So, if they were to happen to go out on the street without me, I'd feel a bit safer that there weren't cars going really fast. But yeah, it can only be a good thing for the city.
We talked to residents about their hopes for the long-awaited speed camera program. Brush fires breaking out all across California. We're tracking the dangerous conditions. And a Bay Area community fed up with sex workers in their neighborhood.
I would be concerned if I had kids walking around.
Why they say the city's solution has not helped at all. Plus, we'll introduce you to a mini horse taking, well, some of the anxiety out of hospital stays for California children.
CBS News Bay Area Evening Edition with Ryan Yamamoto.
Okay, the warning period is about to be over for drivers in San Francisco. In just a few hours, dozens of cameras will start sending out their first tickets to drivers caught speeding. It is a result of a years-long effort to make city streets safer. Those cameras have been installed at dozens of locations all around the city, including some of the most dangerous areas for drivers and pedestrians. Our Lauren Tom spoke to a woman very familiar with one of those troubled spots where the cameras are already making a difference. Lauren.
Ryan, city officials tell me it's not about cashing in on some of these hefty fines, but rather changing driver behavior. And new data from the first few months of this pilot program show that drivers appear to be catching on. Slow down or pay up. That's the message from San Francisco officials as the city shifts from warnings to fines, cracking down on speeding with 33 automated cameras now fully online. For Hayes Valley resident Caroline, it's the change she's been hoping for.
So I walk a lot around the city and I nearly get run over most days, to be honest. So the speed cameras for me are a good idea.
She walks this park in the Crocker Amazon neighborhood as her kids play soccer nearby. It's right next to Geneva Avenue, where the stretch between Prague and Brookdale is already seeing dramatic results. City data shows speeding incidents dropped 45% in just 2 months since the speed cameras were activated. And in the Richmond, the drop was even steeper. On Fulton Street between 2nd Avenue and Arguello Boulevard, a 63% decline over 13 weeks of having a camera there. Behind the data is a clear shift in driver behavior, says SFMTA's Victoria Wise.
In more than 70% of cases where a vehicle got an initial warning, that they did not receive a warning after that. And I'm optimistic that, frankly, we're not going to be issuing that many citations starting tomorrow because hopefully people have learned about where the cameras are, what the campaign is.
She says that's exactly the point. San Francisco has already seen 13 traffic fatalities this year, 9 of them pedestrians.
We know that speed is the #1 cause of fatalities and severe injuries in San Francisco.
Traffic safety advocate Marta Lindsay says while the early results are encouraging, more can be done to get drivers to slow down.
We're a big city with a big speeding problem, and we're going to need not only more speed cameras eventually, but we need a lot more redesigns of streets where drivers feel comfortable going too fast, and we need that to change.
SFMTA says more signage is coming, especially in high-risk corridors, giving drivers little excuse to slow down.
We know already that by the time a driver is going 40 miles per hour, it's incredibly dangerous. And if a pedestrian is hit, they have a 75% chance of being very severely injured or dying. And the thing is that research doesn't even take into account how large and heavy vehicles are now.
And for Caroline, the new system isn't about punishment. It's about peace of mind.
It definitely makes me feel better, especially with my children being here and playing. So, if they were to happen to go out on the street without me, I'd feel a bit safer that there weren't cars going really fast. But yeah, it can only be a good thing for the city.
Now, I'm told by city officials that after tomorrow, a driver's very first warning will be on the house. But after that, going 11 to 15 miles an hour over the posted speed limit will cost a driver $50. Then going 16 to 25 miles an hour over the posted speed limit will cost $100. Then over 26 miles an hour over the posted speed limit will cost you $200. And drivers going more than 100 miles an hour across the city will be fined $500. Now, I'm also told that there will be payment plan options and possibly even community service options in lieu of those hefty fines. Ryan?
Yeah, drivers, you've been warned, better slow down. All right, thanks. Lauren Toms reporting live in San Francisco. And this weekend's Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary celebration created an economic boost for the city of San Francisco. Today, Mayor Lurie's office touted the demand for hotel rooms was up 65% between Thursday and Sunday compared to the same time last year. And with the festivities over, the tens of thousands of Deadheads who came to San Francisco for Dead and Company's three-night concert are headed home. We got up with one couple flying out of this morning at a SFO, still recovering from an exciting weekend.
What do you guys think? You have a good time?
Wonderful.
Yeah? What was your favorite part? What was the best part?
It's hard to name one.
Yeah.
It was that good.
Oh, but wait, there's more. Outside Lands Music Festival returns to Golden Gate Park later on this week. That three-day event starts on Friday. Some of the headliners include Doja Cat, Tyler, the Creator, Vampire Weekend. Tickets are still available. You can snag a one-day general admission ticket for $235, a three-day ticket for $539. Firefighters all across California have their hands full today. Just about an hour ago, this new fire just erupted near a winery. This is happening near St. Helena. This is burning right near the Brand Napa Valley Winery on Long Ranch Road, just south of Lake Hennessy. This is time-lapse video from Alert Wildfire camera showing the smoke. CAL FIRE says they have stopped the forward progress of that fire at about 3 to 5 acres. They say it may have been sparked by solar panels, but they are still investigating the cause. There are no evacuations, at least right now. The Lake Fire in Clear Lake scorched more than 400 acres before crews stopped those flames. At the height of the fire, more than 3,000 people were ordered to evacuate. Those orders have now been lifted. Containment remains at 40%. And in Southern California, this is the Gifford Fire. That has doubled in size since the first erupting on Friday. The flames have burned more than 65,000 acres across Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. At least 3 people have been hurt. Evacuation orders are in place in several areas.
This is a very rapidly fast-moving fire through steep terrain with lots of dry vegetation. It takes a lot of personnel to take on something of this size.
Well, the Gifford Fire is the largest of 14 active wildfires in California right now. 7 of them started over the weekend. So let's head to First Alert meteorologist Paul Hagen for a closer look at the fire danger. Hey, Paul.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse in our neck of the woods while we still have the onshore wind. It's been gusty today, but nothing in terms of extremely strong winds or extremely low humidity levels, critically low humidity levels. So what we have to watch for is the potential for the fire fuels to just be too dry, even with the lack of any kind of weather conditions that would exacerbate that fire threat. But there's some good news in that regard as well. We measured that fire readiness, the ability of the fire fuels to burn quickly with a statistic called the energy release component. And the blue line, excuse me, I was looking at the wrong side here. The blue line traces where we have been so far this year. That's a rookie mistake for television. And it's actually wetter than normal because of the recent cool and rather damp weather pattern that we have been in over the past couple of weeks. It doesn't add a lot of moisture to the fire fuels farther inland, but just a little bit does go a long way. Now, the little green line at the end tracks where it's going to go over the next several days, and that starts to climb. The closer we get to the red area, that's where things do become critically dry. We're not going to get there, but we are going to be drying out to a greater extent because the temperatures are going to be increasing over the next several days. Just near normal temperatures tomorrow, but we're talking about some inland heat later this week. We'll get into the details of that coming up in just a few minutes. Ryan?
All right, thanks, Paul. Well, extraordinary developments today in the battle to control Congress. Texas Democrats have left the state to block a plan to redraw congressional maps that could give Republicans 5 additional seats in the House. This afternoon, Governor Newsom said his office is moving forward with a plan that would allow California voters to decide whether or not to redraw our congressional maps, arguing it is a necessary response to what is happening in Texas.
It's done in response to the existential realities that we're now facing. We've got to think anew. We've got to act anew. Things have changed. We're reacting to that change. They've triggered this response, and we're not going to roll over, and we're going to fight fire with fire.
In the meantime, the Texas State House reconvened this afternoon after the state's governor threatened the absent lawmakers with arrest. Erica Brown has the very latest.
Members, a quorum is not present. The Republican-controlled Texas House of Representatives was unable to vote Monday on a newly redrawn congressional map that would favor Republicans after dozens of state Democratic lawmakers fled Texas, including some to Illinois and New York.
This is about representation, about fairness, and about the integrity of our elections.
In response, the Texas House passed a motion to compel the absent lawmakers to return or face arrest.
Leaving the state does not stop this House from doing its work. It only delays it.
Texas Republicans hold 25 of the state's 38 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives, but the new map would give the GOP an advantage in at least 5 more seats. President Trump pushed for the changes in Texas to avoid Republicans losing control of the House in the midterms, as they did in 2018. Texas Governor Abbott says the new map addresses constitutional concerns raised by the Justice Department. Now, a number of Democratic governors in blue states are threatening to retaliate.
They're leaving us no choice. We must do the same. There's a phrase, you have to fight fire with fire.
But they could face legal challenges. Texas is one of the few states that allows its state legislature to draw congressional maps and allows mid-decade redistricting.
Meanwhile, Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley has launched an effort that could make this all moot. A new bill from the lawmaker representing Folsom and Placer counties would nullify any new maps adopted before the 2030 census. He accuses Governor Newsom of, quote, trying to subvert the will of voters. Stocks soared into the green today, rebounding after Friday's sell-off. A weak jobs report and a new round of President Trump's tariffs rocked the market, sparking concerns over the state of the U.S. economy. The major stock market indices each had their best day since May. The Dow climbed 585 points. The Nasdaq jumped 403 points. The S&P finished 92 points higher. Meantime, President Trump is defending his decision to fire the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, who delivered the jobs report. The president accused her without evidence of rigging the report, but the former head of BLS during Trump's first term criticized the move, calling it totally groundless and a dangerous precedent, warning it creates doubt for when Trump's next pick for commissioner releases data.
Everybody's going to think, well, it's not as bad as it probably really is, because they're going to suspect political influence. So this is damaging. This is not what we need to have.
Agency's deputy commissioner will assume the role of acting commissioner while the Trump administration searches for a replacement. The president said he plans to announce a nominee in the next 3 to 4 days. Well, if you've been to downtown San Jose recently, you might have seen the colorful additions all to Santa Clara Street. The city just completed a nearly $800,000 project on the main thoroughfare. It includes that mural honoring Olympians Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Both were San Jose State athletes who famously raised their fists at the 1968 Summer Olympics to protest racial discrimination. Also, colorful lights like this have also been added to the street to boost the nightlife.
I'm a big believer that our downtown is critical to the overall success of our city. And with all of our new murals and reactivated storefronts and improved lighting, I think that this project really goes a long way towards providing more vibrancy for our downtown core.
So this project is part of the city's Stitch District initiative to connect downtown neighborhoods by creating vibrant public spaces. Up next at 5, longtime concerns of one South Bay community finally getting addressed. Why they say a simple addition to a popular bridge will make their neighborhood much safer. Plus, a 9-year-old has quite a story to tell after a sea lion attack in Monterey County.
It was right next to me and I was like, oh my gosh, something's really bad is gonna happen.
Why she says it could have been much worse. Plus, she's one of the greatest Jeopardy champions of all time and a proud advocate for the trans community. We're going to talk to Oakland's Amy Schneider about her rise to fame and the emerging threats to transgender rights.
It's only because we have come so far that it's possible for these, attacks to be happening.
Well, it is a move neighbors in East San Jose say is long overdue. The city finished installing lights on the Mayfair Bridge after 15 years of calls to improve bridge safety. A ribbon cutting was held to celebrate the installation at that bridge. One woman who's been part of the fight since the beginning says this is a turning point for the community.
Many of us were afraid to walk here at night and being a site of ongoing criminal activity, including robberies, violence, and sexual assaults. Families can enjoy evenings walks again, and all of us can feel proud of our Mayfair neighborhood.
Well, the bridge is a way for students to get to the school, and it connects neighborhoods to the Mayfair Community Center. In Fremont, growing concern over a teenager who has been missing for more than a week. Katie Hong was last seen on the evening of July 25th near her home on Queens Park Court. Investigators believe the 16-year-old may have run away to meet people she met online. If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Fremont Police Department. A 9-year-old girl is recovering after a rare attack off the Monterey County coast. Corral Olson was in the water at surf camp when her brother and sister, when they saw a sea lion. Moments later, well, it lunged at her. The animal bit her leg, leaving puncture marks and bruising. She was immediately taken to the emergency room. Carl's surf instructor said there was no reason to believe the animal was going to attack, but she said when it got close, she felt like something bad was going to happen.
We were pretty deep in the ocean, so then the sea lion went under my instructor's leg, and then it came up to me, and then it bit me, and then it got like dragged underwater. It was pain, and then I was like screaming. Then he said, and my instructor said, "What happened?" And he said, "I got bit, and like it hurt so bad."
Well, she said her surf instructor acted as a lifeguard, getting all the kids to shore safely.
I had 2 kids under each arm and then one hanging off my neck, and yeah, we all made it.
Well, even after a day in the emergency room, Corral says this experience isn't slowing her down. She has a message for other kids that even if something bad happens, you don't stop doing what you love. Well, 10 people are out of their homes after a fire burned through a duplex in San Jose this afternoon. San Jose Fire says they responded to a report of an explosion on Whitten Avenue just after 3. The fire started in the attic that was contained to one unit, but families in both units are displaced. No word yet on the source of the explosion. Crews say with the warm weather today, they'll be staying on scene to watch out for hot spots. So as we check in with Paul right now, that warmer weather always concerns, especially this time of year.
Yeah, and more of a concern for wildfires as opposed to structure fires. And we've had a few of those popping up here and there, larger ones in other parts of the state. It's just kind of par for the course for August. It could actually be worse. We showed you earlier the amount of moisture in the fire fuels around the Bay Area, and that's actually above normal for this time of year. And part of the reason why has been that persistent marine layer, but took a little bit of a break. This is the satellite replay over the last 6 hours, and you can see the cloud cover right at the coast has dissipated. Clear skies even for coastal parts of the Bay Area, enjoying the sunshine, even though temperatures have still been just a little bit on the cool side for this time of year, but generally pretty close to normal temperatures across the Bay Area. Let's take a look. This is the air quality map that we are tracking through the upper Midwest. This is a distinct concern for other parts of the country. So while we have seen the smoke being blown away from the Bay Area, air quality in the upper Midwest and blowing over towards the Great Lakes, a lot of orange and red dots indicating unhealthy or very unhealthy air quality levels. All of this is blowing down from Canadian wildfires. Dozens of those are burning. And of course, we have fires burning in the western U.S. as well, with the largest one near the Grand Canyon, over 120,000 acres. It's called the Dragon Bravo fire, but all of that smoke is being blown away from us. What we are going to be seeing is a continuation of our fairly close to normal weather pattern, especially one more day for tomorrow. Let's go to the local map and track what little fog we're going to see as we head through the rest of tonight. Again, it's one of those scenarios where we're not going to see abundant fog and low cloud cover spreading away from the coast, but some of it is going to reform and try to kind of hug the coastline for the first few hours tomorrow morning, a little bit trying to sneak across the bay as well. But within the first few hours of the sun coming up, that fog is largely going to dissipate inland and retreat to the coast as we head through the rest of the day tomorrow. And temperatures are going to warm up, especially away from the water, back to near normal high temperatures. So what does that mean specifically? Here are the numbers. Temperatures in San Jose getting up into the upper 70s, just short of 80 degrees, which is a couple degrees below normal. Low to mid 80s for Los Gatos and Morgan Hill. Mostly 80s east of the Oakland Hills. Up to 90 degrees in Antioch and close to 90 degrees in Fairfield. A mix of 60s and 70s around the Bay, even close to 80 down the peninsula in Redwood City, with a mix of mostly 70s and 80s for the North Bay until you go farther inland, where temperatures are already going to reach up into the low 90s around Healdsburg by tomorrow afternoon. Now, longer range, we're looking beyond the scope of the 7-day forecast here at the whole western United States. And as we look at the 6 to 10-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, it's a strong signal towards above normal temperatures. They're going to arrive on Wednesday, and they're going to continue for a while. Now, how far above average? not likely to bring any extreme heat to the Bay Area, nothing in terms of any kind of heat risk or any records being set. But even the 8 to 14 day outlook still shows that decent signal towards above normal temperatures even a couple of weeks down the line, which takes us past the midpoint of August. Let's check out 7-day forecast, and we'll start inland, where temperatures are going to reach into the 90s on a more widespread basis beginning on Wednesday. A little retreat on Thursday, and then it's back into the 90s Friday and Saturday, but then coasting back down a little bit again by early next week. And when the warmest days send our temperatures in the lower half of the 90s, it could be a whole lot worse this time of year. Temperatures Bayside will warm up. It'll be noticeable, but it's a more modest warming trend, mid to upper 70s on a day-by-day basis, with that mix of a little fog in the morning and then plenty of sunshine for the rest of the day. And at the coast, well, you're going to see the fog returning tomorrow morning. I think you'll see some sunshine peeking through over the next few days, and then a little bit more of that as we finish the work week and head into the second weekend in August. And your temperatures should reach up into the mid-60s, maybe even a couple of days in the upper 60s. Ryan?
All right, thanks, Paul. Well, still ahead here at 5, the city of Pleasanton taking a new approach to help people in crisis. The new facility being touted as a big win for everyone in the Tri-Valley. And we're going to introduce you to this little guy, this mini horse bringing joy to California hospitals with her unique musical talents.
She was doing a number on her keyboard, which is what all my horses do, and it brings a lot of smiles to everyone.
Oh, these mini horses might have long faces, but their patients don't. Reporter Alice Martinez has more on this unique therapy program in Los Angeles that's bringing joy to hospital patients and first responders.
17-year-old Black Pearl is doing what she does best.
Pearl is especially expressive. She does like to show off.
Moving her muzzle across a keyboard to help a girl wake up from anesthesia at Shriners Children's Hospital. You can see the young patient crack a smile. The video has racked up nearly 3 million likes and has more than 30 million views.
She was doing a number on her keyboard, which is what all my horses do, and it brings a lot of smiles to everyone.
At home, Black Pearl loves to practice her duets. Victoria Notif Netanel started Mini Therapy Horses in 2008. The experienced equestrian wanted to combine her love of horses with helping others, starting out at the Veterans Hospital and the psychiatric ward and the intensive care unit.
We love our veterans, and our horses have been there every Monday for 17 years now.
The 9-member team now visits several hospitals, including Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. They check in on 911 dispatchers and visit kids at schools. They're officially part of the LA City Fire Department, and during the recent wildfires, they cheered up weary firefighters.
We actually went into the tents where these firefighters and National Guard and everyone had been working tirelessly. They would just lean over and hug the horses, and we brought so much comfort.
Netanel trains each one of her mares to do a multitude of tricks. Fall. She's teaching Valentina, a 1-year-old mini horse, how to ride a skateboard.
Yay, Valentina!
Netanel says her horses are trained with positive reinforcement and love, and they give that back to everyone they meet.
It's just been a complete joy and making a difference in people's lives.
And that's no tall tale.
A skateboard riding, piano playing horse. Gotta love it. Well, and just in case you're wondering, miniature horses and ponies are not the same. Ponies are typically taller and stockier. Up next, we're going to meet the people living in a Bay Area neighborhood notorious for sex work.
Going to work, if you leave very early, you might see someone having sex, like out in the street.
Why they tell us a highly publicized plan to address the issue that did nothing but move the problem up the block. And parents in one Bay Area school district up in arms after the superintendent was abruptly fired just over a week before the start of class. Plus, we'll take you to the new record shop celebrating the Bay Area's lasting impact on the punk rock music scene.
I think that actually having that face-to-face real conversation about it and learning what people in San Francisco think punk is really important.
Right now at 5:30, it's been more than a year since these barriers went up in San Francisco's Mission District, hoping to address the growing concerns from community members over sex work in the area. The issue even resulting in a lawsuit against the city. Our Kara St. Cyr spoke to people in that neighborhood say the barriers did nothing but move the problem up the block.
I would be concerned if I had kids walking around.
18th and Shotwell has seen a lot of changes, but Camilla says the prostitution issue remains the same.
Going to work, if you leave very early, you might see someone having sex, like out in the street, just like that.
18th and Shotwell is a hotspot for sex work and drug use. The city installed these barricades on the street last year after residents sued for what they call inaction.
The area that was closed is from 21st all the way to 19th.
Ayman Farhat, one of the residents who sued the city, said the blockades have helped with traffic, loud music, and some sex work.
I think one has to look at things at their entirety.
But they haven't completely stopped the problem. He says other residents complain that it just moved further up the street.
Don't think that we should just say like there's nothing has been done. Yes, there is an improvement, but is there room for progress? Absolutely.
Farhat says there's more the city can do to address the problem. Off camera, other residents told us more lights and law enforcement patrol could help. SFPD started a Dear John program in an attempt to crack down. The program sends letters and pictures to addresses of people believed to be soliciting sex work. While the issue remains close to home for Camilla, she doesn't think the solution will happen overnight.
I really hope something gets done by the city to assure like these girls are safe.
Well, we reached out to the SFPD for comment on the success of the Dear John program, but have not heard back just yet. Major shakeup in leadership rattling the Allenbrock Unified School District with the start of school just over a week. Superintendent Jermaine Serta was fired without explanation over the weekend. Parents gathered at a special school board meeting expressing their displeasure about how the school board handled that termination.
How do you fire somebody with 3 minutes left in the meeting for no cause? There's something wrong with that.
What we've seen over this last year in particular is chaos being brought in a big way by certain trustees that sit on this board, it's important that we be involved.
Allenbrock Board President Linda Chavez released a statement thanking Serta for his service and saying that the board will meet soon to discuss next steps. Sandra Garcia has been named as the interim superintendent. Pleasanton has a new place where people experience a mental health crisis. The Diversion Triage Center hosted its grand opening today. It's designed to help people struggling with drugs or mental health issues who would otherwise have been sent to jail. The center offers peer specialists, case managers, and a clinical program manager trained in both substance abuse and mental health support. They say the goal is to offer people a chance at recovery instead of a criminal record.
I have seen a lot of programs, having worked with public defenders and mental health diversion to crisis centers, and I have not seen a program that says, let's bring your clients to a center where they can get assessed and access to care immediately.
The center is partnering with the Alameda County and community organizations. It will be staffed Monday through Friday from 8 in the morning until midnight. Well, a developing story, a manhunt now in its 4th day for the Army veteran accused of killing 4 people in a Montana bar. Police are searching for 45-year-old Michael Paul Brown, who they say took off in a white pickup after opening fire on the bar in the small town of Anaconda Friday morning. Authorities say the suspect was a regular at the Owl Bar and lived next door. People who know Brown say he has mental health issues, and the manhunt is leaving residents of the mountain community on edge.
It's an uneasy feeling knowing that there's someone out there that has the capacity to do this, and we don't know where they are.
A memorial is now growing outside the bar to honor the 4 lives lost. Meanwhile, police say Brown ditched the pickup and stole another vehicle with camping gear and clothes. They are searching the area where he used to hunt and camp. Up next, we're going to talk to Oakland's Amy Schneider, who has become an outspoken spokesperson for transgender people since her legendary run on Jeopardy.
It really just sort of forced me to get over a lot of my doubts about my self-image and about my voice and everything else.
How she hopes to use her voice to empower others, plus The Bay Area has played a huge role in the evolution of punk rock music through the decades. We're going to meet the owners of a new record store paying tribute to local legends. Well, as part of Transgender History Month, we're highlighting some remarkable Bay Area individuals, and one of them is Amy Schneider, who became the star of the game show Jeopardy, becoming one of the most recognizable faces of the transgender community. Kenny Choi sat down with her to talk about her hopes and concerns.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Signing her book In the Form of a Question, The Joys and Rewards of a Curious Life, Amy Schneider recollects her history-making run on the game show Jeopardy.
It really just sort of forced me to get over a lot of my doubts about my self-image and about my voice and everything else, because I was on national television for a couple of months.
In late 2021, the former software engineer garnered national and worldwide attention, coming out as a transgender woman during her 40-game win streak, second best all time. She won more than $1.3 million in prize money. But her jaw-dropping streak gave her much more than just financial security.
Ever since then, I have really not worried about, my appearance or anything else. I dress for myself and I look how I want to look, not how I think I have to appeal to other people.
Schneider spoke at an event to help LGBTQ+ business leaders and share more of her story. Sky King is an entrepreneur.
Amy is just such an inspiration. I think her journey has been so powerful.
Schneider is using her platform to speak out on transgender issues, including gender-affirming care.
Healthcare is being taken away from trans kids in some places, and the fact is that the movement behind that wants to take it away from all trans people everywhere.
Dawn Zarilla is a board member of StartOut, who believes gatherings like this will empower marginalized individuals.
It's about building community and reminding ourselves that we need each other in the entire spectrum of society to thrive.
Schneider focuses on the decades-long gains for LGBTQ rights, which she says made it much easier to make her transition.
It's only because we have come so far that it's possible for these, attacks to be happening.
These days, she finds herself in the role of a trailblazer.
To know that I have been able to do something, even kind of inadvertently, to make trans people happy, to help them, to give them some comfort in whatever struggles they're going through, is just incredibly meaningful, and it's something that I never thought would happen in my life.
And Schneider has a new book called Who is Amy Schneider? It's a young reader's edition of her memoir In the Form of a Question. Schneider's Jeopardy streak is only second to champion and host Ken Jennings, who won 74 consecutive games. Up next, unbelievable scenes from the Grand Canyon as an out-of-control wildfire puts on a show in the sky.
Straight ahead in sports, a hole-in-one to remember. Valkyries coach, movie recommendation? And the 49ers. Whoa, it's the dog days of training camp now, and roster changes, too.
Call it Texas Hold'em. Action to redraw congressional districts is stalled after lawmakers who wanted to stop a vote leave Texas. Can the governor force them to come back? And they are the beauties of the insect world. Now a new study finds dozens of species of butterflies are just disappearing. But why? Those stories and so much more tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Well, take a look at this. New time-lapse video from the flames from an out-of-control fire. This is a wildfire near the Grand Canyon. This is all just glowing against the nighttime sky. The Dragon Bravo fire is currently the nation's largest wildfire. It was sparked by lightning, has burned more than 123,000 acres near the park's North Rim in Arizona. The fire already destroyed the historic Grand Canyon Lodge just last month, so we check in with Paul right now. I mean, it's amazing how beautiful Mother Nature and how destructive she can be at the same time.
Right, it's beautiful from a distance, see those clouds billowing up, those pyrocumulonimbus clouds of it just creating its own weather. Only 13% contained, and the fire crews are going to have their work certainly cut out for them over the next several days. We'll have to watch the fire danger around here, but it's much higher in other parts of the country. In fact, let's start with the perspective looking at the whole southwestern U.S. And first, all the red flag warnings that are in effect from Nevada into most of Utah and then much of Wyoming and Colorado. The fire threat is going to be sky high, especially in Utah tomorrow. That goes hand in hand with the heat that they're experiencing, not only in the vicinity of the Dragon Bravo fire, that's in northern Arizona, but then the southern half of the state under excessive heat warnings and excessive heat watches a little bit closer to the Nevada and California borders. When Phoenix is issuing excessive heat warnings, an already hot place, you know that the heat is going to be a major issue over the course of the next couple of days at least, and likely beyond that. Now, we're going to be warming up, but not nearly to the same extent. Much more of a modest warming trend in store for the Bay Area. Looking outside right now towards the Golden Gate, hey, we can see it. The fog took a little break today. Temperatures didn't warm up a lot in either San Francisco or at the coast, but we're at 63 in the city and 68 across the Bay in Oakland, upper 70s in San Jose, and otherwise 80s, anywhere from 80 degrees exactly in Livermore to just short of 90 degrees in Santa Rosa. Some of those North Bay communities were among the hottest spots earlier today. The fog is going to return. Let's return to the local map here and track that fog as we head through the rest of tonight. It will first reform offshore and then push a little bit closer to the shoreline and try to make a little progress through the Golden Gate and kind of sneaking towards the Berkeley and Oakland hills. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem for inland communities tomorrow morning, and what fog we do see is going to dissipate inland within the first couple hours of daylight, and so temperatures are going to warm up to basically what's normal for this time of year. Maybe a degree or two on the short side of average, especially in the Santa Clara Valley, where high temperatures in San Jose will fall just short of 80 degrees, but into the 80s in Los Gatos and Morgan Hill. Mostly 80s east of the Oakland Hills and 90 degrees around Antioch and Brentwood. It'll make it up into the upper 60s in San Francisco, which is normal for this time of year. Same thing for the temperature in Oakland, reaching the low 70s. The North Bay, a mix of 70s and some 80s and even a couple of 90s, low 90s around Healdsburg, which is hot, but it's not crazy hot for this time of year. Now, to go along with that wind, we are going to still feel a noticeable breeze as we head through the day tomorrow, but it's still going to be an onshore breeze, and it's going to be diminishing as we hit the midweek point on Wednesday. So more gusts in the 20 to 25 mile an hour range tomorrow afternoon, fewer of those on Wednesday. Still onshore, but a lighter wind is going to allow temperatures to warm up to a greater extent, and that brings in the concern for fire weather. Notice all the wind arrows still continuing that onshore breeze. Humidity levels kind of bottomed out in the 20 to 25% range today. Those numbers will recover as we head through tonight. That's good news when it comes to the fire threat, but then they drop during the heat of the afternoon on Tuesday. Some of the lowest values dropping down to around or just below 20%. It's not critically dry, especially in the absence of any kind of offshore breeze. Temperatures will continue warming up. We're going to climb up into the low 90s in Santa Rosa on Wednesday and then hovering at least a few degrees above average through the end of the work week and at least to start the weekend before we drop back again as we head into next week. So a lot of ups and downs to track over the course of the next few days. Take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we'll start inland, where temperatures are going to reach up to the 90s on a more widespread basis Wednesday and returning to the 90s again by Friday and Saturday, and then dropping down the other side of the roller coaster by Sunday and Monday, but no real wild ups and downs over the next 7 days. No extreme heat in store, even as we do return to the 90s, kind of typically hot for this time of year. A noticeable warm up around the Bay, but only into the upper half of the 70s, some 80s down the peninsula, and then coastal temperatures not changing a lot, but getting a little bit farther into the 60s, and you're going to see some more sunshine along the coast, especially as we finish the work week and head into the second weekend in August. Sarah's here filling in for Juliet at 6 o'clock. Look at what's ahead.
She's off having fun somewhere, Paul. Thank you. All right, coming up at 6 o'clock, a North Bay school district plagued by violence recently says it just does not have the money to put police officers back on campuses. We'll hear from parents who say the city is going back on a promise. Plus, we'll meet a longtime San Francisco contractor who had to learn some new skills to keep up with a huge spike in demand for electric water heaters, of all things. And a new generation flocking to old media, how it's keeping business alive at San Francisco's last video store. The news at 6 coming up in about 10 minutes. Now let's head to Vern for a look at sports.
KPIX Sports is powered by Kia. Learn more at kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
NFL up top in the 49ers. Coach Shanahan announced today that running back Isaac Arindo will be out the next couple of weeks with a shoulder injury, and that defensive tackle Kevin Givens will be out until the regular season with an injured pec. 13 injured players, with the Broncos coming in for a joint practice Thursday. So the team added and dropped players. In the kicking game, they cut Greg Joseph. That appears to mean that Jake Moody will hold on to the starting job. Joseph was brought in to challenge Moody, who missed 10 field goals last season. But Shanahan has been impressed with the former third-round pick during training camp so far.
It shows he's kicking the ball real well right now, which he is. So is Greg, too. But Mooney's got a lot of talent, and he's been kicking the ball very well, and hopefully that continues.
What do you consider the competition final then?
Whether you have one kicker in the building or two, which you rarely have two, kickers always know they're competing with whoever's out there. So I don't see it much different.
WNBA and the Valkyries, back from a 3-2 road trip that catapulted them into the playoff mix. Probably not on their mind the way the trip ended. They had no answers in Vegas on Sunday on stopping Asia Wilson from getting another double-double. Valks blown out by 24, 101-77. When Coach Nikasi had questions, no official would acknowledge her. Look at that. We even look at her. So Coach used her killer mentality and picked up her second technical of the season. Does she have that mindset all the time?
Do you have a favorite movie killer, if you will?
Not necessarily. I actually like comedies. Yeah, I'm a big comedy. I'm like old school, like Cable Guy. Everyone seen Cable Guy with Jim Carrey?
Cable Guy?
Oh, Cable Guy, one of the best movies. So yeah, I'm more comedy.
All right, the Valkyries are going to see Vegas right away, this time hosting the Aces at Ball Hollow on Wednesday. Only Golden State's second home game of the last 22 days. The newest Valkyrie, Kyla Charles, told our Kelsey Thorne she can't wait.
You haven't played with the Valkyries yet at Chase Center, Valhalla. How excited are you to do that?
I'm super, super excited. I've been watching all season, and to see you guys sell out every game and just see the energy that's in the arena, I'm really excited to experience that. So I can't wait for this week to have my first home game in Valhalla.
All right, you got to see this. Golf from Wales, the Women's British Open. Shot of the tournament, Mimi Rhodes, par 3, 5th hole Sunday. It may have been the weekend, but the bank was open. An unlikely hole-in-one. Rhodes couldn't believe it. Put a 1 on that scorecard as she finished 19th. Ryan, she pocketed almost $113,000. The winner's share, $1.4 million.
I haven't seen that before, a little bank shot.
That's a little kiss, bam,
I like
and in.
that little touch on that. All right, thanks, Vern. Well, coming up next at 5 from the Dead Kennedys to Green Day and beyond, a new record shop is paying tribute to the Bay Area punk rock music scene, while the owners tell us they're hoping to reach a brand new audience.
I would love it if people came into the store and gave it a chance and learned about the ethos. One of my favorite things about punk rock is ability and freedom to question authority.
Well, San Francisco is in the middle of a month-long celebration of music, and while the city is best known for the sounds of the 60s counterculture, well, the Bay Area was also instrumental in the emergence of punk rock. Now a new record store in the Haight is highlighting the local punk scene, from the Dead Kennedys to Operation Ivy to Green Day. Lorraine Ayub introduces us to the owners.
In Haight-Ashbury, where counterculture echoes through the streets, a new record store is turning up the volume on punk. More than just a shop for vinyl, tapes, and CDs, I Hate Records is carving out a space for the city's punk community. Run by artists Cody Azumi and Pretty Sims, the shop stays as unapologetically raw and DIY as the music on its shelves.
One of my favorite things about punk rock is, ability and freedom to question authority.
The co-founders say the store is more than just a business. It's about building a space for real face-to-face connection.
You can order anything off the internet. You can order any record you want, like look it up and find it, whatever. But I think that actually having that face-to-face real conversation about it and learning what people in San Francisco think punk is really important.
The shop, which also operates as an independent record label, aims to welcome those unfamiliar with punk, inviting them to learn and experience the scene for themselves.
I would love it if people came into the store and, you know, gave it a chance and learned about the ethos and whatnot, because, I mean, it is very angry music. You know, I think a lot of people have a lot of reasons to be pissed off right now.
And that DIY ethos extends to the very walls of the store, with a lens towards social justice. One customer says the store feels like a place of belonging.
This shop, you know, it means a lot to me. I think it's a capstone. It was built on a lot of hard work, and I think it's really a pillar of the punk community. Got a lot of cool records, you know, and it just feels like home when I'm in here.
And that's exactly the experience Cody and Pretty Sims hope to create.
It kind of makes you just feel a little bit better, just to know that you have people around you who are supportive and who are into making art for a greater purpose, to just say what you feel no matter what other people think.
Each day, the shop stands as proof of punk's enduring roots in the Bay.
And that's it for the news at 5.